Amen. One of the most sacred tasks that a bishop has is to appoint district superintendents. And let me tell you why it's a sacred task. It's a sacred task because we believe in the United Methodist Church that bishops are actually consecrated by God for the work that they do. That is, we don't elect bishops to serve for a time and then they move on. Rather, they are consecrated, set apart, and blessed and sanctified by God for a life, for the work of a bishop in the United Methodist Church. And district superintendents are an extension of that office. So it's a sacred task when a bishop appoints a district superintendent, because the bishop is saying to all of the people, I believe that this person possesses the character and the faith and the witness that is consistent with consecration. Because whenever I'm not around, the cabinet is it. They are the bishops. And so after some time of prayer and consultation with the district committee and with the members serving on the cabinet at that time, there was a name that came clearly to me from God. And that name was Robert Zillhaver. I had known of Bob before I was elected and consecrated as a bishop. I had known of him because of some of the work that he has done for years in the General Church. He has written legislation for the General Church. He has written briefs for the Judicial Council for the General Church. And I knew of him because of that. It became clear to me that he was the first one that I should appoint as a district superintendent because of the passion that he has for the church, because of the knowledge that he has of our book of rules and order. Also, though, because he would fill a voice that was missing at the table. As I have said in many other places and around this annual conference, I truly believe that we are stronger because of our diversity. And it was very clear to me that we don't need 10 other Cynthias sitting around the table, because I'm already there. We need someone who has experienced God in different ways to be there to make sure that when we do sit at the table, we have a chance, just a chance, of being able to experience the fullness of God around the table. I could go on and talk about many of the accomplishments that Bob has been able, through God, to do. I could talk about his long service in the Indiana district, how he served Timlin, Porter, and New Salem churches, and how he served Brookville Evangelical Church. I could talk about the years that he gave to Lakeside Church. I could talk about his passion for youth and how he's been involved in our conference youth fellowship for quite some time, giving them leadership. I could talk about the fact that he often is at camp over the summer, either serving with his wife as a dean of one of our mini camps or serving with others in camps over the summer. I could talk about his passion for order, but you all know about that, don't you? I could name off the many committees that he has served on in our annual conference and in our jurisdiction and in the General Church. I could talk about his work with COSRO, the Commission on the Role and Status of Women, how he works with us here in the annual conference, but also in the general church in that commission. I could talk about how he's worked with our General Board of Discipleship, working with the Upper Room Ministries in that particular division. I could talk about his passion for order in finances and how he has helped his churches in capital campaigns and how he has helped our CFA with getting its house in order. I could talk about all of those things. I could also talk about his background in the military that might give us a hint about why he wants everything in order. I could talk about how he served this country in the Army proudly and boldly and courageously. I could talk about the ways in which those in the military recognized all of his gifts and bestowed many honors on him because of the work that he did in Somalia, the work that he did during Desert Storm, the work that he did during Hurricane Andrew relief. I could talk about all that stuff. I could also talk about how in the midst of all of the busyness with the church, he's a husband and father. I could talk about his devotion to Amy and to his children, to Laura and to Sarah and to Polly and to Robert Jr. Are they here? I know Amy is here. They're all busy. You raised them well. You raised them well. I'm going to ask you, though, to keep Bob's family in your prayers because this is a joint journey that they go on. One of the things that the cabinet members could tell you, and those who've ever served on a cabinet could tell you, those who have spouses who've ever served on the cabinet, one of the things they could tell you is that it's hard on the spouse because they no longer have that close-knit church home, that church family. And so I ask you to keep them in your prayers as Bob goes on this journey. I could talk about all of those things in much more detail, but what I just want to say to you all this afternoon is that Bob is a man of great faith, a man of great passion that sometimes is misunderstood, but great passion about our church, and that we do things in the ways that we have agreed to do them. And I will tell you that I have seen the Spirit of God moving in Bob Zillhaver. And so while we don't agree on everything, Bob and I have no doubt that God uses him and will continue to use him, and that I can trust him with my life. And so I trust the church and this district with Bob Zillhaver. To God be the glory. Amen.